You're listening to the Modern Mom and Dad podcast, a modern take on marriage, relationships, parenting, life, and so much more.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Modern Mom and Dad podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Ty, and
I'm your other host, Caitlyn.
And this is episode 2.
This is episode 2. We're on our second episode.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
You guys, our first episode did so good.
Yeah, it did way better than I expected.
Blown away.
Yeah, I believe it hit number 7 in the U.S. for Society and Culture on relationships, which is wild to me.
We made the top charts. I had no idea. I got an email Wednesday morning saying that I didn't even know this was a thing. I don't know how.
Yeah, we're very new to this.
We're very new to this. Yeah, so on Apple Podcasts, it says that we ranked at one time number 7 on the top charts in Society and Culture and Relationships in the United States. And then we were ranked number 16 in Canada. And we had a few other rankings too, but that is just the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah,
I can't believe that. Yeah, it's wild. So thank you to everybody who listened to our first episode. We do have some plans for the future of the podcast. Definitely, right now we're both speaking into the same mic. Eventually, we're going to get better equipment.
We need to make this a little more legit because people seem to like it.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. We'll definitely invest some more resources in it, get better mics, and eventually, hopefully sooner rather than later, add video. Kind of have a mini studio set up in our house.
Yeah, we actually did set up a YouTube channel, so we're currently just uploading our audio to that channel, but you can find us at the Modern Mom and Dad podcast on YouTube if you prefer to listen via YouTube, but eventually that will be video footage over there.
Yeah, that's actually how I listen to a lot of podcasts.
On YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been...
YouTube Premium, you can close it on your phone and it still plays in the background.
You can do that with Apple Podcasts too.
Yeah.
I think Spotify also.
Yeah, I just always gravitate towards YouTube. I don't know why. Yeah, we could start off by just going off some of the comments, feedback, suggestions from episode 1, because I believe you set up a question. Was it on Instagram?
Yeah, so I asked for feedback over on Instagram, and then also you guys have been leaving us awesome feedback over in the the review section on Apple Podcast and Spotify. So I wanted to kind of just read off a few of these and discuss with Ty.
The one I want to bring up.
Yeah, there's
let Ty talk more.
Oh my gosh.
No, I say that jokingly because I totally get it, because I wouldn't blame that on Caitlyn. I would blame it more on me being more introverted, and she's definitely more of an extrovert. I'm definitely more of a quiet person, and she's been, obviously, you started a YouTube channel,
yeah,
5, 6 years
5
ago?
years ago.
So she's able to, and you've always kind of had that just naturally, where you can talk and you're good at public speaking. Where I wouldn't say I'm bad at public speaking. I'm just more reserved. And
once you get in your groove.
Yeah, I definitely have to warm up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Once you get in your groove, though, your public speaking's great, and you're really easy to have a conversation with. But yeah, I agree with this feedback, the let Ty talk more. I actually found that kind of funny. Whenever we have Q&As on YouTube and stuff, people always say
you're definitely the lead in that too. Especially on those Q&As and stuff.
Yeah, well, I guess that's my platform, so I feel like I need to be, but I feel like on this podcast, people really want to see a different side of you, and another feedback I've really been getting is people want to hear different, just conversations, and they want to hear different content on the podcast than they hear on my other socials. And
maybe more detailed.
Yeah, and I think the more detail is going to be where, the key part to it. My idea is this is going to be where we just go into detail about things more, and maybe I talked about something over on YouTube, but here on the podcast, we're going to talk about it more in detail and just, share a little bit more raw thoughts and opinions and feelings, and
also for us to just have a conversation just as a couple.
Yeah, and get Ty's perspective on things.
I think it's really important for couples to have conversations on where they're at, what their goals are, things going on in their life, and this almost, not that we don't do it, I feel like we do it on a daily basis, but this really forces us to sit down and gather our thoughts. And
that's so funny you say that, because I said those exact words in my last YouTube video.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that at all, but that's exactly word for word what I said. I should pull that up, actually. It's really, like, fun sitting down with Ty filming these, and it, like, forces us to have deep conversations every week, which is also really cool. My mind. I seriously said exactly what you just said.
Yeah, we have not talked about that. That's funny.
So funny. Anyways, should I read off some more of the feedback? I screenshotted everything over on Instagram.
I haven't really seen... I've seen a couple of them, but
I tried not to read them either. I just, like, screenshotted them really fast because I wanted to be able to, like, talk about it in the moment here. Okay, so again, I think this all goes back to, like, Ty talking more. Somebody says, if I'm being honest, I loved the podcast, but it seemed like it's your podcast, Caitlyn, and Ty is a guest, which I think just goes back to...
Yeah.
But, I mean... Is it? Like, I feel like... I don't know.
I feel like I'm...
Somebody has to
I'm not against it. Yeah, I feel like you're, in some sense, the host. Like, maybe indirectly.
It's just more natural.
But I'm here, yeah.
It's just more natural for me to kind of take lead and direct what's going on. But we're really going to try to step out of that.
Well, and give me some time, too, because I'm just not used to this. For sure.
But I think ideally...
over time, maybe it'll balance out a little bit more.
I agree, and I think ideally we want, like, this to be, like, you kind of taking the lead more. Indy. I think we want, like, people want this to be, like, you know, more of, like, your thing, and maybe the guest and me stop talking.
Yeah, they've heard you enough.
They've heard me enough. But no, I really do get it. Like, I'm not, like, being salty about that at all, because I really do agree. Like, I want you to be more active on this platform because you have so many good thoughts, and you have
a lot.
You do. We have really good conversation. I think that's one thing I've always loved about Ty is that we, like, once we, like, dive into, like, deep conversation, it flows very well, and he has, like, a really great perspective on life, like a non-biased perspective, and it makes me think a little bit deeper. Anyways, what's some more of these? Okay, so this person said they loved the podcast. They said that Ty has a really soothing, easy to listen to voice.
Ooh, there we go.
Go, do your deep voice.
What deep voice?
Do that deep voice you do. Sometimes when you're talking to me, you have, like, a deep voice. Like, you go into this, like, deep... like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like,
do I do it, like, consciously?
I think it's when you're singing, like, especially when you sing Frank Sinatra. Ty actually has a good voice, by the way.
Wow, that's probably not podcast material.
Oh my gosh.
They're going to have to subscribe to my OnlyFans to get that content.
No,
I don't think I have a good singing voice at all.
This is the second time we've talked about OnlyFans, so we're going to legitimately think you have an OnlyFans.
They'll be Googling it.
I know.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not on OnlyFans. Unless you want me to be.
Stop. Okay, I'll read one more and then we'll, like, dive into, like, what we're actually talking about today. A lot of people are just saying that they really like the long form conversation. They love, like, this person says that they love that we didn't script it. We've gotten, honestly, like, a ton of great feedback. Like, everything is super, super positive. The only, like, actual, like, constructive criticism we're getting is let Ty talk more. That should be a hashtag.
Yeah.
Hashtag let Ty talk more. Oh, okay.
We definitely don't have anything scripted. We definitely have, like, ideas on things to talk about because I have to have some structure. But for the most part, it's just gonna be us talking.
We have, like, a mini podcast rundown. Like, last night at the dinner table, we just, like, jotted down some things. Like, throughout the week, I was like, okay, I know I want to talk about this, and Ty's like, I want to talk about this, and then we kind of, like, mesh our ideas together, and we work really well together.
I think so.
For the most part.
Sometimes we butt heads, but who doesn't?
When do we butt heads?
When you're wrong.
When I'm wrong, which is never. Just kidding. When's the time that we butt heads? Lolli Co?
I don't feel like, have we butted heads on that?
Oh,
we've definitely...
yeah, we did. Our most recent, like, big, like, confrontation was how to handle when my sponsor dropped us.
Oh, yes, yeah. Because, okay, so give him a rundown. I don't want to not talk enough, but she can give you a rundown of the situation. I know. She'll give you a rundown of the situation, and then I'll explain my side.
Yeah, you're scared not to talk, and I'm scared to talk too much.
Yeah.
We want to give the people what they want. Okay, no, but here's a quick little story, and I went into huge detail over this over on YouTube, or wait, no, on Instagram about this. That's where I shared. But basically, I had a brand that I was working with on YouTube, and I had created the content and submitted it for review, and that's kind of how that part worked.
That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole nother thing. Let's we'll get into this another time. Let's stick to the story. But anyways, I created the content, submitted it for review, and as I'm waiting for feedback from the brand who gives the feedback to my manager, who then provides me the feedback. So as I'm waiting for the feedback, I get a phone call from my manager, and basically she tells me that the brand is actually going to back out because they're uncomfortable with me sharing my infertility journey. This is crazy to say, I know, online. So yeah, it was, I've never had an experience like that. I've never had a brand back out because they're uncomfortable with something that I'm talking about. And I've never felt so...
discriminated against.
Yeah. For sharing something that is already so taboo and so hard to talk about.
Yeah, and for me, I actually listened to the conversation because you had it on speakerphone, and I was standing right there.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, wait a second, because that's definitely not ethically or morally okay, but I'm not a lawyer by any means, but I've taken business law classes and stuff, so I understand contract law to some degree and discrimination and stuff. And I was like, wait a second, is that even legal to do? Mm-hmm. But I was like, to me, thinking more on the legal side of things, don't show your hand. We really need, because this is all hearsay at this point, because she's hearing it from her manager. We need more
information,
concrete proof, an email or something that says they literally said, we're dropping you because of infertility. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge no-no. Mm-hmm. But I think...
Well, everything was verbally. The brand had talked... the brand was working through an agency, and the agency had spoken to my agency verbally. And then my manager had spoken to me verbally. And so... there was a lot of misinformation and miscommunication. Ultimately, the brand did drop me because they weren't comfortable with, me sharing infertility. But they're also not comfortable with working with anybody who shares pregnancy, or I don't
think why. It wasn't that honestly, I don't think what they did was right, but I think what they were saying was that they didn't feel like the pregnancy and mom stuff fit what they were after. But and I think that's I agree. A valid thing, but if they literally said infertility, that's crossing the line.
Let me back up a little bit though, but here's where it is wrong on their part. It's wrong on their part because they sought me out.
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
Yeah, and it's
probably the agency. Not
somebody dropped the ball.
Yeah, it's probably their agency dropping the ball, and they didn't communicate who you were. And then when they went for final approval, they're like, "Oh, this isn't really what we had in mind." Right. And then it came back through a game of telephone.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's interesting because I've actually worked with this brand before in the past. And so when they reached out to my manager, once again, I was like, "Oh yeah, I loved working with them. We had a great partnership. I love their product. And let me just say, has nothing to do, the product, which I'm not going to share. I'm not going to share the brand either publicly, but the product has nothing to do with infertility or pregnancy or it's not something you can't use when pregnant.
It's more of a male brand, if anything.
Yeah, and they were wanting to, I think, expand and get a new market. They're definitely doing it wrong in the mom community, but
yeah, and who controls the majority of purchases in the real world? It's women and the wives.
Yeah. So yeah, it was
I say that it's stereotypical, but that's statistically true.
Right.
Where we butted heads on is Caitlyn, I felt, was emotional about it, which I understand. It was I was just trying to get her to be careful about it'd be a reach, but like a defamation,
right,
like type of thing where she blasts this company. Let's say she blasts them publicly, which she didn't, and then says like they didn't work with me because of infertility, and then you're opening yourself up to like legal consequences, and then you'd have to prove defamation. I'm no lawyer, but that's the way. I would just like, let's tread lightly. Yeah. But I think ethically and morally they're definitely wrong. Right.
But you have to, I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying. And like, I know I was really frustrated with you in the moment because I was not, going against my agency. I was talking to my manager before saying anything. And, but you were still, I think, telling me, and I was like, hold on, like, it doesn't matter.
Your manager isn't a lawyer. Maybe they're clearing things with their legal team.
But he's right, yeah. I know. It was not a situation I've ever, like, found myself in, and it was a learning experience for sure, but they were still so in the wrong.
Yeah, no, definitely. 100%.
It's crazy.
It's just what's legally wrong isn't always the same.
I agree.
With what's morally wrong.
Yeah, well, I spoke with my mom too. She's a legal assistant. Is that what you said?
Like a paralegal.
Paralegal, yeah. And she kind of gave me the same information, and Ty was like,
"Yeah,
I told you so."
She was FaceTiming her mom, and I was like, "I told you." I shouldn't have done the gotcha, but it was all in good fun at that point. We'd kind of gotten over it for the most part.
Yeah, our fights turn into basically.
I wouldn't even call it a fight.
But yeah, it's not a fight. We just have different opinions on how things should be handled sometimes, and we always laugh about it in the end. But that's probably
it's a good balance, though. I feel like it's a healthy balance.
I agree. I agree.
Each.
We don't take it too personally.
Yeah, like you're extremely creative, and I'm not. And then I'm more like on the opposite end.
Logical though, and I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like.
What's the test, the personality test? I had to do it at work a couple times, and I got
Enneagram?
No, it's not the Enneagram. It's the one that's like more
Oh, like I know what you're talking about.
What is it called? But I got a logician was mine, and it was like INTP or something like that.
Yeah, I think.
And I was like that. And when I was reading it, it was creepy. It was like exactly how I am.
You need to read about an Enneagram 5 because you're definitely an Enneagram 5 too.
Probably.
But yeah, that's our most recent, like, I don't know, what do you call it? Disagreement. In regards to business. But I feel like with Lolli Co, we're usually on the same page. Like, there's never really a time.
Yeah, I mean.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever really.
Maybe about me spending the money and he being like, hold on, like, do we really need to do that? Or.
Well, it's just all a cash flow thing where it's Yeah, I mean, we can't order thousands and thousands and thousands of bottles of shampoo if we don't need to, because I mean we have to keep.
I think for me it's more of like the marketing stuff though, like we're gonna be in a market here soon, and I'm like, I want to have like a cute space, and finding that balance of like what is necessary, like what do we absolutely need, and what like can we borrow, what can we use from our house to make our space.
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about the table, like maybe I could borrow one from my dad or somebody I know, but we could probably just buy one.
I know, but I get what you're saying. Like, you're like, okay, we have to, buy all these other things. Like, does it make sense? Yeah, I get the balance.
New products, I don't think you've announced any of our new products that are coming out in the future, but we just got to make sure we can place orders and.
Yeah, the most important part is having product in stock. So.
Yeah, because pretty much and we can talk about business stuff later, but. Pretty much with Lolli Co, we're not taking a salary or profit from it for the foreseeable future. We're just reinvesting all that money back into the business so we can grow and develop new products and hopefully someday be a major player. So.
Absolutely, yeah. And today we really want to kind of dive into kind of some business talk. We want to kind of talk about like how like our income, like how we make money. But also like Ty's perspective of like social media and like how he felt about it in the beginning, because for so long, like when you're starting out on social media, you work so much and make no money. So like that's, I think, a hot topic that we want to discuss and dive more into today.
Yeah, I think we'd gotten a lot of questions about that.
We
too.
did. Yeah, people definitely are interested. And I know I'm always interested to hear like how somebody got started or, you know, like we don't work traditional jobs. And I think it's always interesting to hear those stories, and to me a little inspiring when I hear people who have figured out a non-traditional way to make a living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like for me, when you start, because I think we covered it a little bit in episode 1, but she came to me when I was still at my old job, obviously. I was helping opening up a new dispensary way across town, working lots of hours, newborn baby, and then you had mentioned that you wanted to start a YouTube channel. I was like,
Scarlett
go for it. Hell yeah.
3 months old, I think, and I was really like...
Yeah, I was like, send it, absolutely.
Yeah, I was really searching for something that was mine. I was really looking for like a creative outlet. I had always loved like photography and videography, and I'd always really loved social media too. It was definitely like, I mean, in high school it was like Facebook, and I'd always been like an active member of social media way back when.
More than the average person.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so it just seemed like a really good fit for me, and that was just something that I approached Ty, and I said, hey, like, what do you think about this? Like, can we buy a camera, because quality is really important to me, and I know a lot of people just like start with their phones, but for me, I was like, I already was into cameras, and so I'm like, I want to do it right from the beginning.
And you'd already had like some photography equipment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, I want this vlogging camera, and so we bought it.
And then it definitely got big. I mean, fairly big, pretty quick.
I mean, I wouldn't say it got big, but it grew at a good rate. Like, I feel like my channel's never like taken off, but it's always like consistently grown.
Mm-hmm. When I feel like you have a really good, I don't know the word to use, but like core followers.
Oh yeah,
they're
amazing.
Yeah,
they're amazing. I think let's just like go back to like when we were first starting. So you were super, super supportive.
Yeah. But in the beginning, and I'll admit, I wasn't for very long. Yeah.
So, okay, hold on. So when I first started vlogging, I think I created my first video, and I think it was, is it a vlog? Or no, I think it was like a welcome to my channel. And that was like my first video that went up, and then I posted a video every single day for, I want to say like, I don't know, 30, 40 days, every day. Mm-hmm. I did not go a day without posting a video. And if you are a content creator of any kind, you know how hard that is to do. It definitely takes a toll on a lot of things.
And from my perspective, I'm working, 10, 12 hours a day, commuting an hour and a half both ways. And then I would come home, walk in, from the garage, and the camera's out in the kitchen or in the living room. And I was like, it's a little much, and it was hard to... I was mentally and physically exhausted, so I'd walk in the door and I'd be like, does this really have to be out? And then I felt bad about it, and then she would get mad.
Because I felt like
I wasn't supporting her.
Yeah.
And then, so that was, definitely one of the challenges we had. But I would say that's definitely where I struggled, because I was just so exhausted, and the camera's out, and I'm already a private person as it is, especially then, because I just gotten out of the military. So someday we can get into more of the Guantanamo Bay stuff. I know we got a lot of comments on that. So basically I was a prison guard, so to speak, for some high value terrorists in the world, or alleged terrorists, I should say. And then a lot of them were being released as I was there, and definitely after I left. So, and now I have a family, young daughter, and I was just kind of like, I'm gonna lay low, because like in the camps you use a nickname, like in Gitmo you use a nickname, so no one knows, none of the detainees, none of the alleged terrorists know your name. So when you're gone, then they have no way to know who you were, or if they're released, they couldn't track you down or something. So I was always kind of paranoid in that sense, and it's probably unfounded. Like there's no real danger. But I was always very private, and probably to a fault, I would say.
No, but I mean, I think those are valid reasons, and I mean, I agree with you. It is very odd. Like, I've never, like, YouTube is weird. It is weird to monetize your life. It is, it's just a very odd thing to do. And so, like, I completely understand, like, where you're coming from. Like, I've never not said it's not weird, because it may be normal to me, but, like, if I'm out in public, like, I can't do it. It's weird. Like, I can't just, like, walk down the street holding my camera and talking to a camera. Like, I'm still not comfortable doing something like that.
Yeah, and it can be so cringe, too.
It is.
Like, I hate to use that word,
oh,
but
no,
it
you're
can
so right.
be. Like,
it can be.
Yeah,
like,
and especially, like, nowadays with, like, the TikToks and, like, I mean, there's a lot of teenagers out there, like, dancing in the street, like, you know, and you're like, you know, where's the line draw? You know, that's like. You know
what I think of immediately? Influencers in the wild.
Yeah, influencers in the wild on Instagram, and I think is there a Reddit with that? I think
probably. It is the cringiest thing. But you know what's sad is that the cringy things are what do like perform.
Yeah. Well, I get why people do them. Well, and like to go back to your channel, like when you started it, because we had, you know, some stuff with Scarlett, like her hip dysplasia.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, very public, which I was conflicted about, because, like, I think there's probably, I mean, obviously there's other parents out there probably dealing with the same thing or worse things, you know, with their children. So I think there was a real value in the content you were putting out there as almost like a support thing.
Yeah.
And so people, like, you're not the only one going through this, you know, like there's other people that have your same problems, and you could all relate to each other. So I definitely understood that, but at the same time, I was like, you know, like my daughter's having these health issues, if you want to call it that, but like, I was like, I don't really want that being front and center.
No, I agree.
Online.
And I think I don't have any regret with spreading awareness about hip dysplasia and like what we went through as a family, but I do have a lot of regrets and felt like I overshared a lot of her personal information, and I think YouTube is such a completely different place these days, and I think like child exploitation is very real, and I've never actually like made a statement or anything, but like I've pulled Scarlett back a lot.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't share. I mean, obviously she's older now, and like this was my plan all along, anyways. Like. Yeah,
I remember you'd made comments.
Yeah, like, but like she's still in videos, but rarely, very, very rarely, and for a very short period of time. And I don't speak on any information about her anymore, just for the sake of her privacy. And I do have a lot of regrets. I feel like I could have, if I could go back and if we were going through hip dysplasia again, which I hope we don't ever go through that again, but if we were going through that again, I still would have shared, but in a much different and conservative way that didn't exploit her as much as I think I did in the whole situation. So it's really hard to figure that out.
When you're in it, it's hard to
know what's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
There's no right or wrong.
Well, and I was searching for that community. I was, and honestly found that community, and so many people helped me get through Scarlett's surgery and her hip dysplasia. And I mean, I talked to a lot of other, you know, parents who are going through the same thing, and there were so many wonderful things that came out of it. But I think it could have been done in a different way, looking back on it now. But you know, you learn, you live and learn, and yeah, definitely a learning experience for me. But I agree with you. But I think we should
write that down on the calendar. You agree with me?
Oh my gosh!
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Totally kidding.
I think we should talk about how, like, once, you know, I was doing YouTube for, I don't know, a couple of months, and working so hard and spending all my time and energy into creating these videos for no return. I want to get your thoughts on that, because I worked on YouTube for probably a year and a half. Every day, very consistently, never took breaks, and didn't make any kind of income. So I would really like to hear, like, your thoughts on how you felt with me working so much, not making money. Like, did you see a bigger picture, or did you not? And when did that, like, kind of change for you?
I don't know. I went back and forth, because I was definitely very skeptical on it. but I had followed a lot of people, mainly like totally different parts of YouTube, like more like the gaming and like sports stuff, and you could see where people had like been putting out videos for a long time, and then all of a sudden their channel explodes and they get an influx of subscribers or whatever. So I always knew that there's that potential.
Did you see that happening with me? Did you have any faith in me, or did you just
I did.
Sure?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Because I feel like you have that like creativity and that like personality for that, where I feel like it may be harsh, but some people have it, some people don't.
Yeah.
Like it would be really hard for me to just start like a YouTube channel like that.
Right.
Self-admittedly, but I always felt like you had what it took to do that. But I was still skeptical on if it would ever work out, if you could like, you know, make a living off of it.
I don't think I ever like communicated with you like what I hoped to get out of YouTube, and like we never really had conversations in regard to like social media because it was such like a hot topic between us for so long.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension, definitely, and I think we both kind of ignored it.
We did. Lack of communication for sure.
Yeah.
But when did it change for you? When did you start thinking like, okay, like this is actually paying off? Like, you know, Caitlyn is actually like bringing in an income and supporting, you know. I
mean, definitely when we split up, like once we got separate apartments, I really was like impressed, you know, that you were paying the bills, you were taking care of yourself, supporting yourself and Scarlett. Obviously, I, you know, child support and everything like that, but like even without that, you would have been fine.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Should we dive into the child support situation?
That was a big. Oh man, that was a big.
I was like, you need to pay child support, and he was like, you don't need it.
No, I didn't think. No,
well, no, not that
yeah,
okay.
I never said you don't need it.
I'm sorry, that sounded bad.
Yeah, I'm 100%. I was 100% willing to pay child support, but the amount she was asking for was unfair.
It wasn't necessary.
And the amount that we came up to and
still wasn't fair.
Still wasn't fair. But
okay, but listen, what did I do with all that child support money?
You saved it.
I saved it. Yeah. And what did we do with it, you know?
Well, I didn't know that at the time, though. Yeah. But yeah.
All of that, every single child support check that he sent me.
And when I remember being on the phone.
That he got back when we got remarried.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
In a way.
It's all.
I mean, we used it to, you know, buy a house and stuff, too. So.
But yeah, I remember being on the phone with you, and we were arguing back and forth over the child support. And then she brought up Indy.
Oh my
because
God.
She's like, well, I'm taking the dog. I was like, dogs do not count towards child support. 100%. That doesn't apply.
I was like, but he's your puppy son.
And at that point, I could tell this isn't about the money. This is about spite.
I was like, why am I the one who has to buy all the dog food and, you know, board him when, like, he needs, like, when I want to travel? And why am I the one who has to pay for all the, you know, the bills? And I'm like, obviously I will because I love my dog. But why, like, why shouldn't Ty's or Indy's dad help? Okay, it was ridiculous. I know. But it all worked out.
It did.
It did all work out.
That was the one time during our divorce I would think I was actually very frustrated with you.
I was just pushing his buttons too. Like, I think the whole time I knew he was getting frustrated, and so I just kept like rubbing it in and like I was being a brat.
A little bit.
A little bit. But it all worked out. So yeah, I think back to when YouTube actually felt legit was when we separated too.
Yeah.
But I will say I was like scared. I was definitely, I have a degree. Like I could have gone back to my job I was working before very easily. Like they're always hiring. I worked in child welfare. Like I could have gone back to, you know, if something didn't work out, I could have gotten a job. But I didn't want, Ty didn't either, want Scarlett's life to change drastically. And if me going to
even though we were split up, I definitely wanted Caitlyn to be able to, more or less stay at home, be a stay-at-home mom, but also work.
Well, yeah.
Whenever possible.
Yeah, and it wasn't easy, but YouTube, was my full income. And I didn't really need to do this, but at the time of my divorce, I got offered a part-time social media management. Like I ran the social media for a local business, and made some extra money through that. And I eventually quit like 3 months into it because I was just like, I don't need to do this. This is just taking up like more time. I'm on my phone more. Like I should be putting more effort into my business instead of working for somebody else to run their business. So, but I did like take on that job just as like a security, but I think it was more of like me being insecure with like, can I really do this? Like, can I be on my own? Do I need the extra support?
Not having like a safety net. So
yeah, it was definitely a little scary. I saw a Instagram reel the other day, and basically it was talking about like how how a lot of us are, not everybody, but a lot of us are programmed as we grow up to go to school, get good grades, go to college, get a college degree, work a 9-to-5 job with health insurance and benefits, and retire. And that is exactly how I grew up. I was not educated about like entrepreneurship. I had no idea about business. I had always just had a very strong work ethic, but never understood how people made money, like residual income. I had no idea this was the thing.
Yeah, my parents, my dad is an entrepreneur. He was an accountant, CPA, and then my grandpa started a manufacturing company back in like the 80s, and even before that, his business went under. I think he started in the 60s. His business went under, and then he started another one in the 80s, the mid 80s, and then so I kind of come from an entrepreneurial family, but my dad always had like the same job growing up, and it was expected of me to go to college, and kind of still like almost like the same mindset. Like my dad's thing was always like, you go to college, go work for somebody, learn things, and then start your business. That was his thing. Or come work for the family business, which I was honestly never that interested in. But yeah, it's very strange how we're all raised nowadays to go to college, get a degree, get that corporate job, and it's not. I mean, for some people it works and it's great.
We need those people. We need corporate. We need those kind of work.
Yeah, but I think for a lot of people, they don't get any fulfillment out of it.
Definitely not you. You did not have any fulfillment. Out
No,
of corporate life.
And I was, not to toot my own horn, but I felt like I was pretty good at my job, but it just didn't bring me any fulfillment. I didn't have any. So my thing was, I didn't have any skin in the game. I didn't have any equity in the company. Like, I could work my butt off for the next 20 years and then make one mistake and I'm gone. And I have nothing to show for it. Maybe some retirement, maybe eventually like stock options, because they were a publicly traded company, but they hadn't implemented the stock options. I don't know if they ever have since I've left, but I wouldn't have any skin in the game. And that was my thing, is like, that's like, I'm willing to put in the work and the time. I want to have some equity. I mean, that's what excites me. That's what I think excites a lot of people. And without that, I just didn't have any fulfillment. I didn't feel secure. I felt like I was kind of just spinning my wheels and not getting anywhere. So you were talking about your upbringing and just going to college, getting a degree, getting work and retiring. That's like how a lot of us were raised.
Yeah, and the switch that flipped with me was when I met you. And that was actually something that really attracted me towards Ty, or to Ty. Attracted me to Ty. He's giving me eyebrow raises right now. But it was a huge turn on for me because he had like a business mindset, and I thought that was hot. And he had an open mind, and he thought big, and he wanted, so much more for himself and for a family. And he was the one who inspired me to think outside the box. He was the one who inspired me to think, like, how can I support our family without sacrificing my time? Not that I don't sacrifice time, because I work a lot of hours.
Well, the rules of business.
Residual income.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but the rules of business that I grew up on are, It's called the golden rule, and that's the one with the gold rules. It's kind of harsh, but it's true. The one with whoever has money rules. Like they're the ones who call the shots, like in business. And make money. You have to find ways to make money while you sleep.
Yes.
And that's kind of the premise of like my ATM business, which we can go more in depth in. But it doesn't take very much effort. It was kind of hard to set up with everything, but once you get it going, it's very automated.
Yeah. And so let's talk about residual income. Like what I think they would probably be interested to hear, like, what is our residual income? And like for me, what I bring to the table and is my old YouTube videos. Not necessarily once a YouTube video is posted, it's residual income through Google Adsense. So that's like how you make money through YouTube, one way, I guess. Sponsorships are the main way, but the residual income is the Adsense, because once you post a video, I have videos from 5 years ago that still gets so many views every month, and I'm continuously making money off of those videos that are still performing well.
Is that typical though, or the older videos normally get less? Typically?
I think it just depends on the algorithm.
Yeah. And it's probably always changing.
Yeah, and I mean, it just, I don't know. It changes, it fluctuates, but I, still make a decent amount of money off of some of my popular videos from years ago. I have not had videos blow up like that in a very long time, so it's not like I've had any videos like that, but like those videos have like helped, consistent.
They kind of always like compound on each other.
So yeah, I mean, I guess that's that's one of them.
And I guess the main thing of us talking about this, just to cut in real quick, we're not going over, obviously we're not going to say numbers or anything like that, but we're talking about our revenue streams for one reason is because people are asking about it.
Sure.
The other reason is maybe this will help somebody kind of switch their trains of thought of like having that thought process of getting multiple revenue streams, and this isn't like a MLM pitch or anything like that whatsoever. But like you got to have that mindset of like, are there any ways to make money with like little effort, or like that residual like Caitlyn's talking about that will pay long term, make money while you sleep. It's just kind of a different mindset.
Yeah, we love talking like mindset and
I could sit down with somebody and talk about business ideas, and we can talk about all the different things I've looked into, because I have like it's one of my character flaws is I just jump from one thing to another, but
the wheels are always turning for Ty.
I could talk about business for days.
Yeah, he definitely could, and I really enjoy it too. Now that I've, I don't know a lot. I think that's
more than you give yourself credit for.
Thank 100%. You. I mean, I feel like I know a decent amount. Okay, not a lot, but I feel like Ty knows more specifics, and I just have like more of a general understanding of like, how to. I don't know. Mindset switch, and because I've been there and been there, done that. Like I grew up thinking like I have to work a 9-to-5 job to be successful, and when in reality that's not the only way to be successful. Like you can step outside of the box and do other things that are not only going to bring you joy more, but are also still going to provide for yourself and your family, and you just have to have that mindset. And
there's nothing wrong with working a 9-to-5 job.
Nothing wrong
I've
with
done
that
for most of my adult life. But there's always way you can do things, in your free time that can start the wheel going. To like you spent a year and a half before you really made any money,
and that's
on your
when
channel.
A lot of people give up, I think.
Yeah,
is in that
maybe a few months in, they're like, this isn't going anywhere, I'm wasting my time.
I get it,
but it's one of those things you just got to keep grinding.
But I think for me too, I enjoyed what I was doing so much.
You did.
It didn't bother me. Like I didn't care I wasn't making money. Like I wasn't in it to make money. Like obviously, like I would love to make money from the beginning. Like that would have been awesome. But like I continued pushing through, not because like I wanted to make money, but because I loved what I was doing, and the money came. If the hard work, the consistency, the patience, the money came, but it did take a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of sacrifices to get there. And I think one of those sacrifices was our relationship in a way. I definitely, you know, put YouTube before spending time with you. Like, we didn't make time.
Yeah, I feel like that was true for maybe a period of time.
Yeah, I mean, again, not the only reason. Like, this is
the
reason.
Yeah, that's not the
you know, like everybody always wants to know, like, what's the reason? What's the reason? Like, you guys got a divorce, and you know, if you haven't been through a divorce, or like if you're there's never one reason.
Yeah,
I mean, for the most part,
marriage is hard, and anybody that's married knows that, and it's never one thing. It's just those things that build up and build up and build up that you don't address and accept or fix, and then they just boil over at some point, and it's not good for anybody.
It's not, we've definitely learned that. But anyways, back to like the businesses. So YouTube is... Yeah,
you kind of covered YouTube. So
the way we make money through YouTube is through Google Adsense, which is a residual income.
So that's where anybody that watches the advertisements before the video or during the video, you get a few cents or however much. Yeah, like, it's very little. That's why you have to have a lot of views to make money from that. Yeah,
I think for me, like the really cool turning point with Google AdSense was when I was able to bring in enough money monthly from Google AdSense that I felt like it was a legit job when I was bringing in enough money through Google AdSense, which was like the consistent part. I feel like AdSense is pretty consistent for me.
Yeah.
I don't think it is for everybody, but for me it's pretty consistent. But once I was able to bring in enough income through Google AdSense that matched what I was making working a full-time job in, you know, child welfare as a case manager.
That's a cool.
That was like a really cool turning point for me, because I was like, okay, like this is crazy. Like this is just AdSense. Like there's other avenues, you know, we make money from too. But like that was like a big click moment for me. Like this is really something, and like everything I've done to get here has been worth it in a way. Not sacrificing like our relationship, that was not worth it. But you know what I'm saying.
But who's to say, like, obviously that wasn't the only cause. Like, who's to say that it ended up fine for all of us? It was hard. It was, you know, the hardest thing we've ever gone through. But
for sure,
in the end, it all worked out.
For sure. But yeah, AdSense, sponsorships are the main way you make money through YouTube, at least for us. So sponsorships pay way more than you make from Google AdSense, and then
and companies that do that, just coming from the corporate world and like marketing budgets and stuff like that, companies have a marketing budget and they have a marketing team, and a lot of times it's not right or wrong, but a lot of times they're evaluated on their performance on whether they meet their budget or not. And sometimes in the corporate world, whether it's right or wrong, if they come below their marketing, if they don't spend their entire marketing budget, sometimes it's almost looked on as bad as if they went over their marketing budget. So, and that's not true in every corporation, but
that just budget's there for a reason.
Yeah, they want you to. We're allocating X number of dollars. We want you to spend all this, and if you're not, then maybe they'll give it to somebody else to spend or something. So, companies out there have money that they're willing to give for sponsorships.
And influencers, I guess you could say. I don't know why the term influencer always sounds so cringe to me.
Yeah, it does almost have a negative connotation to it.
Kind of just more juvenile. I don't know. I like the word content creator more, but it sounds more sophisticated. Either, whatever you want to call me. I think it's cheap marketing for brands too. We are very cheap marketing for the most part.
Oh yeah, I mean, compared to like I feel like our generation and younger generation are watching less and less cable TV. Yeah. So companies, instead of spending all that money on traditional advertising, like when we were growing up, like, you know, 30-second minute ads. Right. Now they're spending it on influencers, and like we see that with local businesses, like our
Polite Pest.
Yeah,
we love them.
Yeah, their marketing is all about influencers and content creators and local stuff, and it obviously works very well for them.
Yeah, definitely. And that's how we've been marketing Lolli Co. Is I'm on the other side of it now. I'm reaching out to influencers saying, hey, do you want to try our product? And it's kind of cool to be on the other side, but it's also very interesting to see how influencers reach out to us. Mm-hmm. And I guess for me, I've never reached out to a brand or even a small business, like asking, like, hey, I want to work with you, but you need to pay me. Like, mm-hmm. We've gotten a lot of emails with people who are like, hey, I really want to try your products. Here's my rate. And I guess like for me as like an influencer, I would never reach out to a small business. And if I really wanted to try their products, I would ask to try their products, but not ask to be paid.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a very, very weird experience being on the other side of it.
With Lolli Co, like we've sent, stuff to quite a few influencers. Yeah. But there's no there's no contract. There's no strings attached.
Yeah, we just hope
if you share it. Yeah, if you share it, great. If not, that's fine.
Like if you don't want to share it.
If they end up not liking it, obviously we don't want them to push a product they don't like.
Yeah, we just want to be very easygoing with our products. Like I want people to genuinely share, so there's no strings attached. Like if we reach out to somebody or whatever, but obviously, if they provide us content that's usable, that's definitely a big help because it is definitely hard, like getting content for another Instagram. But yeah, I'm getting off track here. But my point is, it's been very, very different to be on the other side of things now, working with influencers, promoting products. That makes sense. But where were we at? Oh, okay. And then the other way you make money through YouTube is through. I mean, there's lots of ways. Affiliate marketing.
I think those are like the big three. So like AdSense, like the advertisement, sponsorship, and affiliate marketing.
And by affiliate marketing, for me personally, there's lots of ways, but for me, it's mainly through Amazon and Reward Styles, which is like a platform where you can link products and people can shop your links, and you can make a very small percentage off of people shopping those links.
And it varies wildly.
I think
a lot of big ticket items you get very little.
Let me pull it up because this is always very interesting. But like for example, I sold 14 pairs of like $60 Lululemon shorts on January 26th, and I made $6. So that's actually pretty high. So here's another example for a bed that I sold. Or this was Scarlett's bed, and somebody used the link for Scarlett's bed to buy it for themselves. It's like a $500 bed. I made $1.26 off of that sale. Mm-hmm. So, the commission definitely like varies.
I was really surprised at how much it varies.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
So, affiliate marketing, it can be good, especially around the holidays, but for the most part, it's
better than nothing. Doesn't typically add up to
much. Yeah. Then I think in the past, like I've kind of dipped my toes into other ways to make money, but it wasn't necessarily because I was trying to make money. Like, for example, Saint.
Yeah, I remember you doing Saint.
Yeah, I loved the makeup. I started wearing the makeup. It is an MLM, by the way, and I just genuinely loved it. So I signed up because I had a lot of people asking about the makeup, and it just made sense, I guess. Not financially, but being able to link the makeup. So I have a return, so I'm not making somebody else money. Like, that's just always been my mindset. Like, if I'm going to put in the work, I might as well get paid for it. I kind of dipped my toes into Saint, and it was honestly really, really successful. I was doing very well with it, and I actually pulled myself out of it, not because like things weren't going good or I didn't enjoy it. It was because I didn't enjoy it. I love the makeup. That's what I was trying to say. Like, it's not because I didn't like the product. I still wear the makeup to this day, but I don't know. MLMs just can be a little fluffy for me. The girl chats.
Yeah, it was a big time investment.
Yeah, and I'm just like, no, this isn't like why I'm here. And like, you can make it what you want. That's for sure. Like, I'm not trying to like diss Saint or MLMs or anything like that. Like, you make it what you want. But for me, like, I don't know. It wasn't for me. Love the makeup. Was making great money, that's for sure. But it just didn't feel right, so I stopped like promoting it. And then there's been a couple other things I've done to bring in an income. Like I said, I was working for like a local business doing their social media. I've collaborated with a local boutique in the past to like create my own product line. Like, for example, last summer, my friend and I, who she's Forever French Baby, she's a storefront in Gilbert, Arizona, and then is also online. But together we created a swimsuit line for kids. We came out with 6 different styles, and that was like a 50-50 investment. So she went in 50%, I went in 50%. We created these styles and sold them to our audience, and that was honestly so much fun. I think we might do it again this year. But that was one way we invested some money and made a return on it as well. And that was really fun for me. I mean, not only was it like a good financial move, but it was really, really fun to be able to create a product and offer that to my audience and then see, their kids in our product. Like, that was a really, really fun experience. There's been like other affiliate programs I've been a part of along the way, but I would say what we've shared today is like our consistent, like the consistent definitely. Over the past 5 years.
Yeah, and with my ATM business, like ATMs, like automated teller machine, that's like, the ATM machines at the bank or at the gas station. And basically how it works is there's independent ATM providers like myself where I can do a deal with a bar or a gas station and put ATMs, I have to buy the ATM and then put money in it. So then every time someone uses it, then I get paid. So it's one of those ways to kind of generate somewhat of a passive income. It takes a little bit of management, a little bit of coordination, but overall it's a very easy business to run. It does have some fees. You have to pay a little bit extra bank fees depending on how you have it set up.
Rental spaces.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to pay like the business a certain percentage of the surcharge. Like a lot of times it's like $3 to use an ATM, so they'll get $1 of it, or maybe $2, depending on the establishment and how you negotiate it. There's no set rules on it by any means, but yeah, it's a fairly easy business to run, and I'm really glad I started it. So with the ATM business, one thing, I did draw a small salary from it for a long time, but at the same time, one of the perks of being self-employed is I can do it's called an SEP fund. It's basically like a self-funded IRA, like a retirement account. Like if you're working for a corporation, they might match your retirement account or whatever. But what I can do with this is the tax laws allow you to basically take up to a certain percentage of your profits and put it into a retirement, like investment account that's basically not taxed. It's like tax sheltered, so you don't have to pay taxes on that, and you can build your retirement up. So I've done that over the years, which was really nice. That just kind of forced myself to save some money.
Yeah, and it's hard to think about like retirement and like healthcare and all of that when you are self-employed, because it's definitely...
Healthcare is very expensive when you're self-employed.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so when Ty quit his job, we were able to keep his healthcare through a program called Cobra, which is, I think, nationwide, right?
Yeah, it's a federal thing.
Okay.
A lot of people have probably heard of it.
Yeah, so basically we keep the insurance, we just pay full price. So usually the company pays a portion of the health insurance, and now we're stuck with paying that full.
That's the benefit of like a 9-to-5 corporate job. They paid almost all, when the corporation that bought the dispensaries I worked for took over, they paid for almost all of our healthcare. We paid a little bit out of each check, but for the most part, it was a very good deal. And if you kind of like do the numbers, you figure out like my salary is this, but I'm really like with healthcare and everything, they're paying me quite a bit more. So that is one of the benefits, pros and cons to anything. There's trade-offs in anything. I'm
glad we kept your insurance though, because not a lot of insurances cover IVF costs.
Yeah, it is very good insurance. It's expensive, but it's very good insurance.
Yeah, we've definitely got our use out of it with IVF. We've still paid a pretty penny for IVF, that's for sure, but it has helped probably cut our costs down in half.
Yeah, I would say probably at least.
Yeah, so half, it has been worth it, but we are looking into having to get new insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can only stay on Cobra for 18 months.
Yeah.
Which Yeah.
But I think it's really important to note too that when Ty did quit his 9-to-5 job, we took a pay cut. If you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I left a 6-figure corporate job.
He did, and health insurance. Like there was a lot of benefits to him working, and when when we decided for him to stay home and quit his job, like it was a big financial decision for our family, and we definitely took a pay cut.
Yeah, and it definitely scared me, but it's
a risk.
It sounds cliche, but there's no price on happiness, and there's nothing wrong with where I worked. I really enjoyed working with the people that I did. It's just the structure of the business, and it was getting to be a very good company, or very big company, and I had no fulfillment out of it, and I felt like, okay, I've done my part, and it's time for me to move on. And they had offered me, promotions and stuff to try to get me to stay. But at the end of the day, I was like, it's just not going to be worth it. And of course, I missed the paycheck, but I've honestly never been happier in my life. So there's no price on that.
Yeah.
My mental health, our relationship.
Yeah.
And I was worried about us. Honestly, I'm going to be home a lot more than I used to be. So, but it's turned out to be the exact opposite of what I feared, because I feel like we've never been closer.
Aww.
We've been more of a team.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I was going to say something, but I lost my train of thought.
You're going to say how awesome Ty is?
No, I was going to I was going to say when you were quitting your job, you were about to get your bonus, and you just had to stick around for a couple more weeks, and we decided it wasn't even worth it at the time, because we had this opportunity to like go on vacation, first of all, because we were working with Toyota, and we had like an amazing vacation planned that we went on to California, and that was going to be really hard for you to take time off work. And then we were going back to Kansas, right?
I believe so, yeah.
To do something, and Ty never got to go back to Kansas with me.
Yeah, very rarely, like once a year or something, like Christmas time or something.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'd always get comments whenever like Scarlett and I would travel back. People would always be like, "Where's Ty? Where's Ty?" I'm like, he works. He's always working. Yeah. Like he is literally always working. He can't just like pick up and leave like I can. It was such a privilege that I was able to do that, and he just couldn't do that. So,
yeah, I forgot about the bonus.
Bonus, yeah, we didn't even. It wasn't even worth it. Like us being together and us having these experiences, like we were like, the money's nice, but we don't need it. We don't, not trying to like brag or anything, but like, it's not like we're like millionaires or whatever. Like we're not very,
at all.
Like,
but
average
like,
people, but like we
but
just
we're,
didn't
we're
need
at a point where like we don't have to worry about how we're going to pay the bills, which is, and some people aren't in that position, and I feel for them, like, you just got to keep grinding.
You do. Yeah. I mean, do whatever you need to do to take care of your family. Like, I'll always be in support of that. But we've definitely, like, came a long way. Like, I remember back at, like, in our apartment days where
there was one time where we had
negative.
$0 in our account. Yeah, negative probably
negative.
by a little bit. But
yeah.
And I was like, ugh, yeah.
It was a scary time.
Scraping
so it's like we've been there. Like, it's not like you grew up very privileged and in a very nice house.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, you definitely did. And I grew up I had a wonderful childhood. My parents always did everything. Like they gave me everything. But my mom had me when she was 17, and with that comes sacrifices she had to make, and I had 3 other sisters. My parents definitely took care of us. But
you had like a middle class upbringing, maybe upper middle class. I don't know. Like,
very happy. Had everything I need, but I also had to work for whatever I wanted extra. So like in high school, not even, I think I was 13 when I started washing dishes at a local cafe, and I'd get up at 5 a.m. every Saturday and a little later on Sunday because they didn't open until later, but I'd wash dishes, and eventually I became a waitress, and I would go to school all week and cheer Friday nights at football games, and then I'd have to get up at 4:30 in the morning to make it to work, and it was exhausting, but that is part of where I think my work ethic came from. And, in college, I was expected to have a job lined up before I even left the house, which I did. I worked in retail, and there was a time where I was going to school for, 14 hours. Like, I was taking 14 hours of classes and working 50 hours a week, not even joking. So I feel like I've definitely, like, put time in, and, like, I understand, like, working, like, going to work, working for somebody, working for a company, it wasn't even a 9-to-5 job. It was more than that. I went to college, I graduated, and then I was so excited to get a 9-to-5 job, actually, because I was working retail before, and, you work weekends, you work nights, and, I started working a 9-to-5 job, and it was good. It was nice, but I always wanted more. Like, I always felt something was missing, and I think I just always, like, longed to work for myself, and I guess I didn't really realize that until I met you. Mm-hmm. You gave me that drive.
Well, that's awesome. That makes me happy. But for me, like, growing up, I definitely grew up upper middle class for sure.
Yeah.
My grandpa started a manufacturing company, and then my dad took over it when my grandpa retired, or kind of semi-retired. He was always working, but I grew up. We never went, honestly, without anything. I was definitely a spoiled kid. I think I was spoiled, honestly, when looking back at it, the older I get, the more I realize that the military was probably the best thing I ever did for myself. And that was really the only decision that I made that wasn't influenced by anyone else, like including my parents. Because my parents always wanted me to go, to college and, do that track. And I was always interested in business, but I always had that in the back of my mind. I want to, join the military. I want to do that for myself. And I feel like that really changed me in mostly good ways. Not all good ways, but I think mostly good ways. I definitely don't regret it. It was very eye-opening, very interesting time of my life. But I feel like after that, I kind of had a total mental shift of the things that are important in life. And I'm not saying I've never lost track of that, because I think I did lose track of that, like, with our divorce and everything. But overall, I think once I got out of the military, I realized that, shiny toys and, like, material things are great, but they're really not going to bring you true happiness. They'll bring you some short-term happiness, and I'm not saying I don't like toys, because I like toys, I like things, but when it comes down to it, if you have to choose over your mental health and your life and time with your family, that's more important than making a few extra bucks to buy material things. And I think the older I get, the more I realize that.
I agree. I think at the end of the day, it, is what's more important, time or money? And time.
You can't get any more time.
You can't get time back. No, absolutely. But we've been talking for a very long time.
Yes, it's a good one. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did.
Is there anything else we needed to cover? I feel like this was a good episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this.
I hope I talked enough.
I know. Well, and I hope you guys, like, understood kind of what the points we're trying to make. Like,
yeah.
We definitely have, like, a lot of opinions, and hopefully
definitely
nothing came off wrong.
Yeah, and just know that anything we're talking about, like revenue streams and all that, it's 100% not in a braggadocious way.
No.
We're just trying to
be transparent.
And kind of our mentality with business and making a living. I hope it didn't come across wrong to anybody.
For sure.
Like, and we're not trying to make anyone feel bad about working a 9-to-5 job. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode number 2. You can listen to our podcast every Tuesday. Oh, we also didn't mention this. We have an Instagram account now that you guys can follow along with. It's at the Modern Mom and Dad Podcast. So you can follow along with us over there.
And I'll try to post on that as well.
Oh, yeah. So
I've got it on my phone now.
People have been asking if Ty's going to be active over on that Instagram, and that is the plan. So I'll keep him. I'll hold him accountable.
I'll do my best.
My personal Instagram's at Caitlyn Neier. If you guys want to follow along with that, you can follow along with our YouTube, which is Caitlyn Neier on YouTube. And yeah, anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening to the Modern Mom and Dad podcast, and we'll talk to you guys in our next one.
Bye.
Bye. Do you want to follow along with us more? We would love that. Follow us over on YouTube and Instagram at The Modern Mom and Dad Podcast to interact with us, ask us questions, and to see behind the scenes. Thanks for listening to the Modern Mom and Dad Podcast, and we will see you next Tuesday.